And then the one last thing that I can say is that you really need to dive in when you're doing that interview with your upline. You need to know what kind of training they provide.
Yeah.
You're going to be coming in with a ton of direct sales experience, which is great. But there are things that different companies do. And if your upline doesn't have a great training or an onboarding sequence ready for you to jump in and get started, that might be a red flag because usually most companies, when you start, they have their 90-day plan or
Yep.
their fast start
Star.
program. Yeah. And that's where you can make a lot of money, but you need to hit the ground running.
Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the other 99%, every seller matters.
Hey everyone, it is me, Lisa, and welcome back to another episode of The Other 99%. I'm here again with our co-host Susan Larimer, and today is actually very weird for us. I don't know, and you'll only get to see it if this works, so we will see how it goes, but this is basically our very first time doing a video recording of our podcast. So bear with us if we're a little jumpy or we're not staring at you or, all those things because I'm nervous. It's almost like I'm doing my first episode all over again.
Lisa and I actually had to look presentable today. Usually we're like, who cares what we look like? No one can see us.
Yeah, you don't usually see Lisa with her hair down. So, I mean, I don't know how many episodes I'll be doing with the summer coming with my hair down, but I did it for today, just for our very first recorded episode. All right, everyone. So today we wanted to chat with you about something that's been happening a lot in the direct sales field, and that is companies closing and people losing their direct sales business. I mean, for me, my company closed in January and I was with them for 15 years. So, I probably would have never left if other than them closing and giving me no decision or no choice to make that decision. So we wanted to chat with you today about this because it's happening a lot. I don't know how many companies, I mean, I can count at least 5 or 6
Yeah.
that
Just
have
this
closed
year.
that's just recently in 2025. And then there have been others who have made like big comp plan changes, which is um it's really crazy. We thought that it was something that we needed to talk about. I know Susan hasn't had to experience that yet, but
I
hopefully
know.
you don't.
Right. Even if you feel very secure in your business, there is a sense, kind of a vulnerability out there because none of the other companies, well, a lot of them, they didn't give warning and they felt very secure and very comfortable. And then, they go to log into their back office and they're locked out. Like it happens that fast. So I think I'm safe, but who knows? So this episode is just going to kind of walk you through what to look for in a new company. It's going to talk about some things that will help you guide you along if you choose to stay in direct sales. And Lisa and I, we love direct sales. I mean, this is kind of where we've been for a decade, 2 decades. So we want to encourage you to stay in direct sales, but be smart in making a decision. Don't just go where everybody goes. It's okay to make your own decision. And we just want to walk you through some questions to ask yourself, some questions to ask the company, and maybe some things to think about when you're choosing your next company.
Yeah, it's surprising how much you can actually learn from running a direct sales business, right? I mean, when I first started, like it's been almost 20 years for me in the direct sales field. And when I first started, I didn't know what to do. It's like somebody asked me, and I'm like, sure, this sounds fun. Let's try it. And even when I started my Epicure business, I thought I was being smart. I thought I was asking the right questions, making sure that I would get the support I needed. And I'm not saying that my upline wasn't supportive, but I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I could have had in terms of like um, training and stuff like that that I don't feel that I got. But I had a great upline. She was supportive of me. She was close by. So we could do a lot of things. Whereas when I was first in direct sales with Mary Kay, my the person I joined under left the company, and then my direct upline was in Alberta. And the only time I heard from her was when, I was dropping like thousands of dollars a month, and because I was having great parties. And other than that, you didn't hear from her. So I knew I didn't want to do that again. But I mean, when we look at direct sales closing or companies closing, it's so funny because a lot of people say it's like the writing was on the wall, there were signs, and it's like when I look back at Epicure, yeah, there were signs, but there was never a sign on the door that said, "Hey, listen, this company is all of a sudden just going to go bankrupt and you're going to be out the door."
Right, right.
The signs to me were saying that, the company can't sustain what it's doing. There's going to be major comp plan changes to adjust because they can't keep paying that 1%, that crazy amount of money, basically to do nothing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our uplines, I mean, they were working with their first line, and that's about it, right? And you can't sustain that. Like the company can't sustain paying that out when these upper leaders are just doing their minimums and receiving like $30,000-$40,000 a month, right? Yeah. Could you imagine, right? and I mean that's why a lot of them are really upset that the company
Right.
closed, and that's why they're bashing the company, because think about it, it's like your nice cushy paycheck is now gone, and you either have to start over or you have to pack in the towel and retire. So I mean, maybe that's why it didn't affect me so much. I mean, I was making okay money. I wasn't making $30,000 or $40,000 a month, and I was able to pivot quickly enough where I was able to jump onto a new job, let's say, and replace that income quite easily that I was bringing in with Epicure. So I guess that's why I don't have such a sour taste in my mouth for
Right.
the company closing. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of times when you think about it, like I think it was, what is it, Motor that just recently closed, and it was one of the companies anyway. I don't know exactly which one, but there, it wasn't like it was a financial issue. They just came and said, no, we're closing the doors. Like we just don't want to do this anymore, sort of thing, right? So that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard,
Yeah.
right?
But I think it's important to think about this time and realize that you're in the driver's seat. You can look at all of the experience that you had with your other company and say, okay, this is what I really loved about this company, and this is what I really did not love. And take those. And when you're looking at other companies, like I said, you're in the driver's seat. So I've had other people change companies and they actually call the owner and have an interview with the owner to ask them these questions, because not everything you find online is true. You might get very biased information from someone who's already with the company, a consultant. So do your research and know that this is your decision. It has to be a good fit for you. So Lisa, were a lot of Epicure people, were they all shifting to one company? I know that happens a lot. Like a lot of them are like, well, I'm on board. I got to quick go or else I'm going to miss my downline.
There were a lot of people who tried. There were big teams who followed each other to certain companies. I'll just be honest and say there was a few of the upper directors, they tried to position it where, we got a great opportunity, come join us. And some people did, but that sort of fell flat. I mean, me, myself, I'll be honest, I tried a bunch of different companies. Like I'm like, okay, well, let me just try something, because like I've been doing direct sales for 20 years, and it's like it felt odd. Like it just felt really odd not to have anything to offer. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me spin it and ask my customers what they wanted. And then I would go to the companies that they wanted. But then what I found, it's like I didn't really love the product.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big believer that you can't promote something that you yourself don't love. So it came to a point where it's like, okay, well, this isn't working. Let me try a different thing. And then I went to another spice company. And you know what? The one thing that I found with that spice company, because a lot of Epicure people went over there, it was actually everything that I didn't like about Epicure was happening there. So it's like, I don't want this. This is not what I want, right? So I decided that I would break my contract with them and step away. It wasn't for me. And I'm excited to say, like, and I mean, not everybody agrees with me, but Epicure is supposed to be making a comeback in this summer. And I'm excited. I will return as an affiliate. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say that because my customers love it. Heck, I was just making pasta sauce the other day and I'm like, I don't have any more Epicure, and this just is not
I
the
just ran
same.
out of my 3 onion today. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do?
I don't even know if I have any more jars of that, right? It's like I'm savoring. I have little samples and I'm savoring them. They're like 3 onion and the CCB and the salsa. But it's like, yeah, when those are gone, I'm hoping that Epicure will be back up and running with at least their most popular products out and ready for sale. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so to answer your question, did people group together and run? Yeah, I think there were a large group that did, but not everybody. Not
Yeah.
everybody did.
So let's talk about what are some things you should look for in your next company.
Well, so one thing that I really want to say is that you're, like you said, Susan, you're in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to research and I'm not saying just the company, but research the team that you're going into.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to interview your upline.
Yep.
I mean, and if they don't want to take the time for you to do that quick interview and answer a few questions that you might have, then honestly, is that the right team for you?
Right. That says a lot.
Right? Yeah. And then for sure, I always say direct sales, you're in it for the money, right? So
Mm-hmm.
is the comp plan going to help you make money?
Yeah.
Do you need a PhD to understand it?
Yeah.
Because that's what I always get so frustrated about is that there are some companies that there's this level, and you have to do this to get this. And it's like, just give me a straightforward. If I sell X, Y, and Z, I want to know how much money I'm going to take home.
Yeah.
And I think the more simplified comp plans, the better. The complicated ones sound good, but might not always produce you with the most money because they're too dependent on if this happens and this happens, then this will happen, but not necessarily you'll get this if you go out and are like a kick-ass seller, right?
Yeah. And think about where your strengths are. If you're really strong at recruiting, then make sure the comp plan
Mm-hmm.
rewards you for building a team. If you're
Yeah, for
not
sure.
strong at recruiting, you don't want a comp plan that really doesn't focus just on selling because you're not going to get all of those bonuses for recruiting. So look at the comp plan. Is it heavy on the selling side or is it heavy on the recruiting side or is it a good balance? And then think about your strengths in those areas.
Yeah, for sure. And then another thing that I always say is that are the products consumable? Like that's where I got stuck,
Huge.
right? It's
Yeah.
like I was in one company and I'm like, okay, I love their products, I love it, but how many cloths does somebody need, or how many like
Totes
frying
and
pans?
bags.
Yeah, totes and bags. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were people like who were in companies like 31 that just made a killing.
Yes.
But it's like it has to be a company that you feel comfortable with, that you can promote strongly. And yeah, consumable products are the best because you know that when you do that reach out every 2 to 3 months, it's going to be, yeah, can you order me? Like, because just think, if Epicure was still going and I reached out to you, Susan, it's like, hey, how's it going? It's like, Lisa, I need my 3 onion. I'm like out, right? And then it's like, okay, I have no problem. I can
Right.
take care of that for you, right?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, consumable products are like skincare, hair care, things we eat. So things that people use and then they run out. They have to reorder. So I don't know.
Supplements too, and stuff like
Yeah.
that, like supplements and wellness
Anything that I
products.
need to reorder. So I think that's huge. I mean, my repeat business is the majority of my business. So I think it for me personally, I have to have the consumable products.
Yeah. And then a lot of people really, you really have to align with the company that you want to match up with, right? If their mission is similar to a mission that you have, like family first or something along that lines, then you're going to work well with that company.
Yeah.
But if your mission statement and their mission statement are two totally opposite ends of the scale, it's going to be hard for you to believe in what they have to offer,
Yeah.
right?
And you have to love the products too, not just the company and their mission. You have to love the products. Like you said earlier, I would not feel comfortable selling something that I don't use personally
Mhm.
or love or can give testimonies. If you don't love it, you can't just sell something just to make money. Maybe you can. I couldn't.
I mean, some people can, but that's where I ran into a problem, right? I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I signed up for a makeup company. I loved the comp plan. I loved the people that I was working with. I mean, the products that I did try, I liked them,
Mhm.
but I'm a 20-year-old Mary Kay junkie. I mean, like, even though I don't sell Mary Kay anymore, I use Mary Kay like every day of the week, right? So for me to switch my skincare and my makeup and all this stuff, it just wasn't in alignment with what I wanted to do. So I had a very hard time selling that or promoting that to my customers because I felt I wasn't being authentic,
Yeah. Because they're going to
right?
say, Lisa, what's your favorite product? Or what do you
Yeah.
use for this? And you're going to be like, I don't know, but the catalog says you should
Yeah.
use this. And
Or so and so, or my upline uses. And it's like you always have that third party experience. But yeah, you need your own personal experience for sure. And then the one last thing that I can say is that you really need to dive in when you're doing that interview with your upline. You need to know what kind of training they provide. You're going to be coming in with a ton of direct sales experience, which is great. But there are things that different companies do. And if your upline doesn't have a great training or an onboarding sequence ready for you to jump in and get started, that might be a red flag because usually most companies, when you start, they have their 90-day plan or their fast start program. Yeah. And that's where you can make a lot of money, but you need to hit the ground running. So you need to have all that information provided to you in order for you to succeed, right?
yep, yep, for sure. Okay, so what are some questions to ask before you join? Some of these will be a little repetitive. The first one we talked about, what is the company's mission or why, and does it match yours? You mentioned that earlier, Lisa. So what else can we ask?
Well, this one's so funny that I'm reading this. It's like, how long has the company been in business and is it debt free? I mean, I look back at Epicure. So you really need to dig into that because I had people reaching out to me saying, our company is debt free, it's debt free, and all this stuff. And that's what we were told with Epicure too,
Mm,
that it was debt free. And, the company was in business for over 30 years. So it's like there wasn't really any warning signs for that. So, but it's always a good idea to get a feeling for that. I'm
yeah.
not saying though that new companies are not great to start because we just had a guest on the podcast talking about how she was able to get into a company when it was like ground floor and that helped her like skyrocket up the ranks. And so starting a new company isn't a bad thing either. I think it's like, do you align with the products and their mission for sure?
And I think look at, it seems to be kind of a red flag if companies are currently or thinking about restructuring. If
Mhm.
they're maybe going to add another location in another country or, I don't know, revamping their product line or something, like those are kind of red flags to me. I might want to let the dust settle a little bit before
Mhm.
I jump in with a company that is in a transition currently.
Yeah. I think bringing it back to Epicure too, I think if it wasn't for COVID, we
Mm,
probably would have seen a different outcome because we launched into the US like a few months before COVID shut everything down. And a lot of our business was done in person in your kitchen. And the new people in the US, they just couldn't do that, right? Whereas I feel like if COVID didn't happen, we probably would have seen a different result for Epicure. But I mean, we can't change history, right?
Right.
That's, so it's just how we got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, back again to the comp plan. That's another question. Like, make sure you and ask questions if you don't fully understand the comp plan. Make sure they explain it to you. And if the person that you're talking to can't recite the comp plan off by heart, that's a red flag for me, right? If they need to bring out a 20-page document and say, okay, well, let's flip to page 10 and look at, 24B, and this is like that, like, whoa.
Yeah.
You just need to tell me if you sell $1,000, you're gonna make $250 cash in your
Right.
pocket, and I'm happy,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
and again, that goes for recruiting too. Like if they don't know what's in it for you recruiting in terms of ranking up and making income on your team, that's a red flag. Like make sure that that's simple enough to understand too.
And then we talked
And
about this
then
earlier too. What kind of
yeah,
support tools, trainings are offered?
yeah.
Are they kind of tech savvy too? Do they promote the home parties? Is that what you love to do? Or do they have some extra technology that allows you to be, online and do your business that way? So think about how you like to do your business and does that company align with that?
Yeah. And then the last one, I mean, ask about the community. What kind of vibe they have. The one thing that I dislike is a competitive community. And that's what I was finding with that new company that I joined. Everything was so competitive, and it was like,
Mhm.
just no, 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 I don't want that. It's like,
Yeah.
let's be encouraging to people. Let's collaborate. Let's, do all that stuff. But we don't need to compete with each other. That's just silly. Like, I mean, it makes no sense because you succeeding is going to help me. Like, we all have different customers,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's like, stop being so competitive. But
Okay.
yeah, that's another thing to ask for sure.
Okay, and then we have a list of 5 things to think about when choosing your new home. So the first one says, does this company support the lifestyle and flexibility I want? We talked about that too. But do you have to, are there certain requirements that you have to hit maybe per month, maybe per
Mhm.
quarter? Is it doable for you? Or are you really going to be struggling to hit those minimum requirements every month?
Yeah. And that's one thing that you do have to ask because you know your business, you know where you came from. And if you were struggling to sell, let's say $250 a month, but you're going into another company that has like a $750 quota that you have to have in a 3 month period, well, that breaks down to $250 a month. Are you going to be able to do that in a brand new company where
Right.
you're going to have to go and find all new customers? You're going to have to make all new connections. Yeah, you're going to bring some of your customers over. Let's face it, that's always going to happen. But yeah, we definitely need to dive into that for sure. Know what it's all about, right?
Yep. Number 2, it talks about longevity. Can you see yourself with that company, with those products long term? You don't want to just jump into something saying, oh, I'll just use this as a stepping stone or temporarily, but think about a company that you want to stay with for a long time because it's hard to change businesses all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like I said at the beginning, if it wasn't for Epicure shutting down, I would still be there,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have left, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, even though there were things that at the end, like I'm sort of relieved because I left, and not that I didn't love supporting my team, but I realized that team building at this stage in my life isn't really what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I love training, but I don't want to train on a specific company or model. I like to do like broad training, right? And so that was hard, but yeah, it's like I don't think I would have ever left Epicure,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah. And then it's like the next one, it's like, are my customers going to benefit from these products?
Yeah.
Right? We talked about that before. Like, so are the products useful? Are you coming from a company that sold $10 spice jars to a company that now sells $200 supplements, do you think, how many customers do you think are going to follow you?
Yeah, and look at the price point of the products too. If you're going from a spice company to a spice company, you don't want that jump to be $50 a jar or a packet versus $10. Look at the price point of the products too. And then, is there room for me to grow? Like, can you promote? Can you earn more money next year than this year? Or is it a comp plan that just is based on your personal sales? So think about that too.
Yeah. And another one which I found very interesting, because I did jump into another company because there was a product that I wanted to buy. And I'm the type of person that once in direct sales, you're always in direct sales. And a company is going to get you the best price on a product, right? So I jumped in with this company, and I reached out to the girl that specifically because I wanted to be under her. But I said to her, listen, don't expect a lot from me. I'm not looking for being pushed. I'm not looking to reach titles or hit ranks or, do this jumpstart thing. I just want to come in and do it my way. So if you're okay with that, I'll join your team. If not, that's okay too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, because I didn't want to go into a company that was like panic mode. You got to buy this, you got to sell this, you got to do this. It's like, no, 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 no. I don't have to do anything. I'm my own person.
Yeah. Talk about the red flags to watch for. We talked about this too. The high fees, lack of transparency. If you feel at all like the company is maybe a little shady or not giving you the full story, do not go with them. Make sure you feel really good. Talk to multiple people from the company, maybe customers, and just, really do your research.
Yeah. And then we just want to say, it's like, if your company closes, it's nothing on you. Like, you didn't fail. There's
Right.
nothing you can do, right? But it almost feels like that. It's like, I don't know. I'm not, I'm not like a super duper emotional person. Yeah, I do cry every now and then, but it's like when Epicure closed, I sat there and it's like, I would just start crying for no reason. And it was because it was the community that I was leaving, not necessarily the company that I was leaving behind. But it's like, I then realized it's like, okay, well, onward and upward. Now it's time for me to make this pivot to find out what Lisa's 2.0 is, right? And that's up for you guys to decide. And there's so many different businesses out there. And in 2025, I'm sure you'll agree, Susan, it's like direct sales looks different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it was when I joined 20 years ago. It's like completely different, right?
Yeah, take time to mourn. I mean, it's the end of a chapter. It's a time where you can just sit back and kind of reflect, and you're going to be sad and just, be sad and let yourself experience all of those emotions because that's part of the healing process. But when you feel like you'll know, okay, I don't want to do direct sales again, or maybe you'll feel that way for a short period and then you'll be like, I really got a lot out of direct sales. I learned so much. I met so many amazing people, and you may feel pulled back into it. But I want to encourage you not to just feel the pressure to go with a certain company without doing the research yourself, because then it won't be your decision. It's like everybody else's decision. Like, well, I guess I better go. So just know that it's okay to take time and to research and to feel your feelings, feel your emotions, and go through the process.
And I just want to share there too. It's like if you do jump into another company, because I'm guilty of it, right? If you jump into another company and then after being in there for a little bit, you realize that, hey, this isn't my place. It's okay to walk away.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay. But you do you, and you find your next place. And if you have to, I'm hoping you're not going to have to buy a starter kit each time you do, because I was lucky enough that anytime I went into a different company, it was either a free join or it's like very minimal cost to join.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend buying like a $200-$300 starter kit every time you had to join. But I think companies have changed a lot lately, that there are a lot more digital offers out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be afraid to walk away if it's not you.
Yeah.
That's for
Yeah.
sure.
And have the confidence knowing all of those skills that you have learned has made you a different person. Look at who you were when you started with direct sales 10, 20 years ago compared to today, and just really embrace that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the same person that I was 20 years ago.
No.
You would never see me doing this 20 years ago. There's no way.
Although we talked about that in another episode, you would still hide from me in a supermarket where I would track
Yeah,
you down.
I would still hide for you. It's so funny because when I used to go to conferences with Epicure, I would have people. One girl in particular reached out. She goes, "Lisa, is this really you?" Like I was talking to her on Zoom, and I'm like, "Yeah, why?" She goes, "I could have swore that you didn't like me when we met at conference." I'm like, "No, it was because there were people." It's like I don't like people. Like people make me nervous. So she was like, okay, I thought it was just me. And I'm like, no, 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 it's not you. It's just like, if I could have found a corner or a hole I could have crawled in, I would have been much happier. But sitting in a big crowd, I mean, there were many times that my name got called up to go up on stage and I just sat there. I wouldn't
You
go up.
didn't go.
And I always say, it's so funny because I always said, I'm like, if they ever asked me to do any kind of training or anything, I would be like, okay, you have to put a desk with a computer and a camera and then project my thing up on the screen and I'll pretend I'm talking to the camera and then I could do it. But there's no way I could sit there and talk to a crowd. Like I had to do that once at an event and I'm like, I started bawling. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, no, no, no. This is not me, like way out of my comfort zone. Don't get me up there on stage. So it's like, so if you're listening, Gretchen, because it was you, it's like, no, I don't hate you. Yeah, I just feel very uncomfortable. And I don't hate people. I just don't like that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. That is funny. All right. Well, we have put together kind of all of this in a PDF, and we'll have the link down in the show notes. But it's just kind of everything we went through, kind of a guide. So if you find yourself looking, if you're in that transition period, one company either closed or maybe you're just leaving it because you don't feel like it's a good fit anymore. So when one company closes and you're looking for the next company, maybe this can be, a guide, questions to kind of filter through and to make a really smart decision.
Yeah, that's great. I know everybody's gonna love seeing that guide, and we'll make sure that it's linked in the blog as well when it's available. And I just want to thank you guys for joining us, and fingers crossed that this video works because if so, this will be our very first video podcast episode to share with you, and hoping that it will be video podcasts going forward. So thanks
Yeah.
again for joining us, and we will see you on another episode of The Other 91%. See you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Other 99%. We just want to say thank you. It truly means the world to us that you're here. Lisa and I absolutely love creating these episodes for you, and we're so grateful to have you in our community. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to like, share with a friend, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We drop fresh content every Tuesday. Got thoughts, questions, or ideas? Leave us a comment. Want to be a guest on the show? We would love to chat with you. Apply by clicking the link in the show notes. Thanks again for spending time with us today, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Other 99%.